So I'm honored and truly grateful from the bottom of my heart for this opportunity. We were trying to organize a session with you, with His Holiness, for last 4 years, and today it's like dreams come true. I can't express my feelings in words, how privileged I'm feeling as the moderator of this session, sitting right in front of a living legendary. My name is Naveen Sharma, co-founder MindMingle Education, which I started 6 years back with my colleague Shakil Ahmed. I welcome you all on the behalf of MindMingle, all the attendees here and people who are watching live on Facebook. Thank you, His Holiness, for the opportunity to express my very sincere gratitude for doing this conversation. MindMingle is an initiative to promote the concept of experiential learning methodology, purposeful education, and understanding the unique passion and potential of each child. By learning, we do not mean the mere cultivation of memory or the accumulation of knowledge, but total development of human being by encouraging students to inquire and to think independently. MindMingle is also in conversation, in discussion with C Learning India for future collaboration. C Learning, which stands for Social, Emotional, and Ethical Learning, is working on vision of His Holiness to promote secular ethics education from kindergarten to university. We have 2 of their members here from C Learning. So today we have educators from across the world here, from UK, USA, Indonesia, Japan, Vietnam, Australia, and many more countries. Thank you for joining us on this auspicious day. So today, theme of the today conversation is the need for secular ethics in modern education system. We agree that secular ethics need to be discussed by students and teachers. So here we are looking for guidance of His Holiness on need for secular ethics in education.
Thank you. My main concern is a happy world. In order to, firstly, individual, in order to be happy person, mere knowledge, no guarantee bring happiness. So knowledge related with brain. So we are seeing very brilliant people, very highly educated, but very unhappy person. So now, I always, mentioned the modern education very much sort of oriented about material value. So now, in order to be happy person, that person need 1,000-year-old India's tradition, ahimsa, karuna. These two, or say the 1,000-year-old India sort of concept, karuna, ahimsa, this karuna brings inner peace, inner strength. As a result, much less anxiety, fear. With that, ahimsa, not harming other. Always restrain harming other. Physical action, verbal action, which create unhappiness, other people, restrain these things. It's ahimsa. So in order to carry genuine ahimsa, ultimately karuna. So India already over, I think, 1,000 years, already, you see, concept of how to train our mind. So shamatha, vipassana. Shamatha means single-pointed mind. The vipassana, analytical meditation. In this country, over 2,000 years already developed. You see, these technique, how to develop karuna, and with karuna, you say how to determine to follow ahimsa. So now, I often, you see, expressing the modern education which come from West. You see, no knowledge how to tackle our emotion. So therefore, people or nation who highly educated about modern education, you see, and through education, through knowledge, variety of weapon, and finally, like nuclear weapons. These, you see, these creation use our intelligence, our education, knowledge, and knowledge about science, technology, these things, but lack of moral principle. The lack of the concept of ahimsa, karuna. So now, this brilliant human mind, human brain, instead of bring inner peace, but more anxiety, more fear. Because this intelligence dominated by anger, hatred, fear, destructive emotion. So I often, you see, expressing the people everywhere, hygiene of physical everywhere, you see, take care or sense of concern about physical hygiene. Now we need hygiene of emotion. You see, that only Indian tradition. So therefore, now India should take more active role for promotion of inner peace, inner value, according to ahimsa and karuna. And India can combine modern education, that's mainly material thing, or external things, with that also very necessary. Combine that, the 1,000-year-old India's tradition, ahimsa, karuna, combine modern education and ancient Indian, also the principle, karuna, ahimsa. So the previous century, Mahatma Gandhiji follow ahimsa. So eventually, many world, the people, follow Mahatma Gandhiji's non-violence style. Like Nelson Mandela. In Africa, Nelson Mandela. In America, Martin Luther King. So on. These people, totally follow Mahatma Gandhiji's the concept of ahimsa. Surya, Ajit Surya, Luther King. I think Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King, his wife, now widow, his wife, once she told me, Martin Luther King so much impressed Mahatma Gandhiji's non-violent philosophy. So he even, want to dress like Mahatma Gandhiji. So now, 21st century, now we should, you should try, you Indian, should try to promote these ancient Indian knowledge, ahimsa, combined karuna, and also modern education. So, India is the only nation who can combine modern knowledge and ancient Indian knowledge, ahimsa, karuna, and sort of knowledge about mind. These things you can combine. Ahimsa, karuna, these not question of bring from other sort of tradition. It is your own tradition. Only question is revival of these thought. So I always now I have 4 commitment. Number 1 commitment, I'm a human being, one of the 7 billion human being. As a human being, need inner peace, hygiene of emotion, as I mentioned earlier. Human being, whether believer or non-believer, that's individual matter, personal matter. But as a human being, we need peace, peaceful mind, so that we can develop humanity more happier and much less fear. Through that way, we really develop world peace. Unless taking care about our emotion, just knowledge, not emotion, then previous century, First World War, Second World War, and before that, in European continent, a lot of sort of fighting, a lot of killing. The knowledge of science actually, helping to create more violence. Very unfortunate. So now the world, more and more people now, as I mentioned earlier, realizing the peace. Now the point is, in order to create a peaceful world, firstly, we human beings who create violence, they themselves should make effort to inner peace, to create inner peace. So my number one commitment as a human being, try to share 7 billion human beings, whether religious-minded or not, we should be a compassionate person. We have some sort of reason, some scientists, they say any social animal, you see, in order to survive, individual sort of animal, they need community. So we also social animal, so individual human beings' life entirely depend on the community. So therefore, look animal, you see, those social animal, they biologically, you see, they have some kind of, you see, a sense of concern about their community. So that's now some scientists say. Because of that, basic human nature is more compassionate. It is true. From child, as soon as we're born, we totally relying on our mother. Mother also taking full care, child. So these, the reason, now some scientists say basic human nature is more compassionate, not anger, not hatred. Eventually, when we join education, school, not pay much attention about this inner value. So children, till join school, children play together. They don't care what others' religious belief, different nationality, rich or poor, play together. Once children join education, then the emphasis, secondary level of thing, or you see, religious belief, or how to say the racial, all these things, then the concept of we and they. So now, in education, children, before they join education institution, they play together. They don't care what is secondary level of differences. Once join in education, then make distinction. That creates the strong feeling of we and they. So now education should be as the idea or concept, 7 billion human beings are one. We have to live side by side. So east to west, south and north, and different color, white, black or yellow. And then also religion. These are secondary. Basically, we are same human being. So we have to live together on this planet. So now, one new sort of development is the global warming. The global warming, you see, not making distinction, east, west, north, south, this nation, that nation. But the whole world now become warmer, like that. So according to some scientists, now within a few decades, the global warming then reach such a level the most of these rivers will dry. So now, according to that reality, now it is quite silly thinking my nation, my continent, or my group. No. Now we have to think about humanity. So my number one commitment, I'm just one human being out of 7 billion human beings. Then my second commitment, I'm a religious person, I'm Buddhist. So all religion, you see, in spite different tradition, at different time, at different places, all the religious main message is love, loving kindness. With that, the idea of forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline, contentment, these all major religious traditions, you see, carry same message. Then because of different place, different culture, so we need different way of approach. So a different religion, different philosophy developed. And all major religious traditions all carry same message of love. And for promotion or for develop conviction about importance of loving kindness, then different religion use different method. Some say there's God, some say no God. So within also Buddhism, different tradition, different philosophy, and Nalanda institution itself, you see, develop at least 4 different Buddhist philosophical school of thought, like that. So these are methods to bring conviction, importance of loving kindness. So religious harmony, very possible. Now look, India, all major religious traditions exist in this country. So few occasions, some problems. But that also, I think, we may blame some politicians. Otherwise, I think this country, all world major religious traditions live together. I very much impressed. I never heard from Indian Muslim the sort of different sort of feeling, Shia and Sunni. No problem. Your neighbor, Syria and Afghanistan, these Muslim countries, same Muslim, same belief, Allah, Quran, but just a name, Shia and Sunni fighting, killing. So then this country, India, so all these different religious traditions live together. All world religious traditions exist in this country. So religious harmony over 1,000 years there. Therefore, I have full conviction religious harmony is possible. India is example. So therefore, my second commitment is try to promotion religious harmony. Then my third commitment, I'm Tibetan. The Tibetan people trust me. So therefore, regarding Tibetan political matter, since 2010, I totally
11.
11. 2011, I totally was retired from political responsibility. We already have democratic way, the elected political leaders here among our community. So they carry the responsibility. Now my responsibility is Tibetan culture. Here I want to share our Indian brothers, sisters, the best Indian knowledge which kept Nalanda tradition. So that now in India just ruined some places, otherwise it's nothing. But we, Tibetan, we kept all these Nalanda knowledge. So sometimes I jokingly telling, previously, so before it's 8th century, we always refer you Indian as our guru. India, we consider land of guru. We are Chela, disciple. Now today's reality, the guru, because neglected the ancient Indian knowledge, so you see guru, just a name. I think knowledge, now Chela, better knowledge than guru. So, my main sort of concern or responsibility regarding Tibet is preserve these knowledge come from India. Firstly, 7th century, the Tibetan king, Songtsen Gampo, married with Chinese princess. But sometimes I feel little joke, the 7th century Tibetan king, certainly he enjoy Chinese princess and Chinese food. But regarding Chinese letter, he found too complicated. So he decided he create our own script. You see, based on Indian sort of Devanagari alphabet, Kaka Kanga, Cha Cha Chanya, like that. With that, our own script developed. The 7th century's Tibetan emperor, Tibetan king, I think quite wise. He developed our own script, copy from Indian Sanskrit mainly. So then 8th century, you see, again a Tibetan king, Chisung Dezen, he looked Buddhist tradition in China, Buddhist tradition in India, he prefer the Chinese Buddhist tradition also, you see, from India. So original, also the source of Buddhism is India. So therefore, he invited, at that time, 8th century, one top master of Nalanda, Shantarakshita, he invited to Tibet. Now, once he reached Tibet, he advised the Tibetan king, Chisung Dezen, since you already developed your own language, script, so instead of study Sanskrit or Pali, you should translate all these great texts which are available in Sanskrit or Pali. So, some scholars say, even Shantarakshita, his own age then, around 90, Now, he himself, you see, pays some attention about Tibetan language. But in any way, since then, translation started. So eventually, now, in Tibetan language, they say translation from Sanskrit or Pali. Altogether, Buddha's own teaching, about 100 volumes. Then a commentary wrote by mainly Nalindra master, such as Nagarjuna, Arya Asanga, Dignath, Dharmakirti, Chandrakirti. These is Nalindra master. You see, they are writing altogether 200 volumes. We have altogether 300 volumes. We study many of these books. I myself, now, 86-year-old person, but whenever I have sort of time, I read these books which translated from India. Really wonderful, really wonderful. Now, the one unique thing about the Nalindra tradition, Sanskrit tradition, we very much emphasis on reason, not faith. Buddha himself, you see, told his follower, oh my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, but rather thorough investigation. So Nalindra master, they investigate Buddha's own word. So whenever they find some contradiction, they reject even Buddha's own word. So they make also the distinction. Those Buddha's teaching, some literally can accept, some literally cannot accept, because it creates contradiction. So therefore, we Tibetan used to follow Nalindra tradition. That tradition, when I met Buddhist brothers, sisters from Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, so on, and China, and Korea, and Japan, you see, we Tibetan, we are refugee. But as far as knowledge about Nalindra tradition is concerned, our knowledge much better. So therefore, and then one unique thing, since we very much based on reasoning, through reasoning, even Buddha's own word, some word we can reject. Therefore, now today, modern science is very helpful. Combine scientific research and our logical research came together. So some people consider me half Buddhist monk, half scientist, because our tradition, the Nalindra tradition, very scientific way of approach. So therefore, now, according to my own experience, combine scientific research and our logical approach combine. Very, very useful, very helpful. So now, among my friends, number of scientists, they really showing interest about some Buddhist concept. Buddhist concept, mainly Buddhist concept of interdependency, like that. So therefore, the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, which come from directly from Nalindra tradition, is really worthwhile to preserve, because it is almost like precious, the precious thing about whole Buddhist world. And then, in order to explain Buddhist psychology, Buddhist philosophy, Buddhist logic, Tibetan language is the best language I found. English, of course, no hope. The modern Indian, Hindi, not much hope. So my sort of responsibility is to preserve these our knowledge which come from Nalanda, and for explanation these things I found Tibetan language is the best language, so therefore it is really worthwhile to preserve our language. Since we established in India also the school, I asked Pandit Nehru, since we have our own language and written language, so we need separate Tibetan school. Nehru fully support. So we establish Tibetan school. The medium of language, English language. That also I asked Pandit Nehru. The Pandit Nehru say medium of some say Hindi. I asked Pandit Nehru then told me English is international language, so English is much better. So the Nehru really very, very kind to us. And he chose this place, my permanent place, Dharamsala in Kangra. At the beginning, we felt this place is a little bit isolated. So we prefer Mussoorie. 1959, 1 year I spent in Mussoorie. So we little bit sort of hesitate, come to this place. Then one high Tibetan official I sent to Dharamsala, Kangra, from Mussoorie. Then he report us, oh, Dharamsala, wonderful place, quite open, and he also mentioned Dharamsala water is better than Mussoorie's milk. So now, Pandit Nehru chose this place as my permanent place. Now over 60 years, this is my home. And I always describe myself as a longest guest of Indian government. Like that. So now this place, because it's not much crowded, so we can develop our own school, children's village, so on, and different also institutions here. And then mainly in South India, bigger Tibetan settlement, because of the land, we settled in South India. That also Pandit Nehru asked some chief minister or the land for Tibetan settlement. And then the response from few states and best sort of response come from Karnataka state. Then we call Mysore state. Because chief minister, Mysore, he, since 56, Buddha Jainist liberation, I came here, we become very close friend, Mr. Nichalingaba. So I remember one day, one lunch, at that time, wherever I go, some Chinese, from Chinese embassy, some Chinese officials, always with me. So lunch, one table, Mr. Nichidengaba next to me. So he quietly expressed to me he want independence Tibet. So some Chinese officer there, I a little bit so afraid. So in any way, now today in the Mysore state, Karnataka state, all Tibetan historical, also the monastic institution now settled there. So over 10,000 monk students, they carry study continuously. Now some foreigners also join. Some Indian also now join. So that's, and then Tibetan, regarding Tibet ecology, I consider Tibet is a source of water for the whole Asia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, China. Major rivers like Brahmaputra and Mekong River, all the major river come from Tibet. So one might also the responsibility is make clear Tibetan plateau, you see, should kept more green, preserve these snow mountains or these rivers. Tibetan ecology, very important, because some Chinese, even if it's private, sometimes they too much exploit Tibetan also nature resources, regardless, you see the nature also ecology. So a lot of destruction of forest. So one occasion, the Chinese Prime Minister, Zhurongji, you see, he give instruction. There's some Tibetan area, more forest area, which related with our big river, should preserve, should not deforest like that. So that's my another sort of responsibility regarding Tibet. Then those Tibetan who found new home here, including those 10,000.